Thanks very much, Sifiso, for talking to me around the issue of international post-trade services.
Yeah.
Just give us a sense of the trends, the international trends that you're seeing in the post-trade services space for institutional clients.
Okay, thank you so much. Definitely there are a number of trends that we've been spotting, that we've been seeing. But the most important thing is that when those trends happen in the international space, they eventually find themselves within our shores and obviously within our market. One of the trends that we've seen is that from a post-trade perspective is that providers like ourselves are starting to host all of their post-trade solutions onto a digital platform. Now, the great thing about that is that clients can access all the solutions that they need and all the capabilities that they require onto one single platform. So it reduces a lot of complexity that exists within the sphere and introduces lots of simplification.
A sort of one-stop shop.
Another trend that we've seen is that the whole discussion around the green topic, speaking to issues of ESG, so the environmental, social, and governance aspects. I think institutions like ourselves are starting to realize how much of an impact that we can have, that we are an integral pillar with this whole discussion. And depending on our response, it can either be positive or negative. So we can either add positively or negatively to the whole ESG sphere. Another trend that is quite interesting, and this has been developing for quite some time, the whole discussion around tokenization and digitization, the whole blockchain discussion, it's evolved quite nicely to a point where there are now some practical POCs and practical work that the global guys are doing. So we can actually see now some use cases that we can study. It seems like the regulators are lagging when it comes to this topic, but I think they're taking more of a risk-averse and cautious approach to it. But I mean, with all these massive trends that are happening, the one discussion that is now again on the table is around getting back to basics, around getting service right, getting relationship right. And so that's quite critical and important, that whilst we are digitizing and we're becoming all sophisticated, that we still need to get the basics right.
Just on the point that you talked about around the regulators, how does that impact your work? Because obviously, if they're behind the curve, it makes it difficult for you to do your job.
Well, it gives us an opportunity to be part of the discussion with the regulators. We are one market, and we've got different parts that we play in this market. So we understand that they're quite important as pillars of the market. So we engage with them quite a lot. They're an important part of what we do. So we cannot leave them behind. But at the same time, we need to understand where they're coming from, and so that is where partnership and collaboration is actually very key and very important. So market advocacy is something that we really focus on so that we all go hand in hand with what we're doing.
So we've looked at some of the trends that you've identified, but what are some of the challenges that you're seeing your clients experiencing?
I think one of the challenges is that clients are not really always understood, meaning that their needs are not always met. So as institutions, we've got products that we sell to our clients, but they're not always the products that they require, or at least the full solution that they need. It's just a portion of what they need. And speaking about that, there are very few institutions that can offer a full suite of post-trade solutions. So they can offer just a portion. Now, for a client, that creates quite a bit of complexity because they need the full service. So they would then have to speak to multiple counterparties and multiple providers for them to get the full suite of what they need. Again, it introduces complexity. With this complexity, you find that then they have multiple counterparties that they have to deal with. They've got multiple costs now that they have to manage. They've got multiple relationships that they have to manage as well, because all of these just adds up. And so it's not very easy to do business, especially when they're not in the business of post-trade, because that's our business. With that complexity, I mean, I really believe on the notion that data is like oxygen. So they need data. They need data to be able to do what they do best, to make investment decisions, as an example. And so sometimes it's not the lack of data that is a challenge for them, but it's the overwhelming data that they might have to deal with, because they've got multiple counterparties and multiple and so forth. So we've seen quite a lot of our clients now having to form their own data departments, because there's all of these things. They need to be managed, they need to be analyzed, and it actually increases quite a lot of costs even on their side, because they need this data. So that is a massive challenge for them. I think what we've seen again as something that they need and they are not able to get is really access to the global world. We spoke about regulators just now. That one of the beautiful things that is happening now is that regulators are starting to open up. So clients can really look offshore and try and find some offshore access from an investment perspective, but there's not enough solutions that are giving them that capability to do that. So those are the challenges.
So how is RMB responding to the trends and the challenges, and how are you differentiating yourself in the market?
I always get excited when you speak about this and what RMB is doing. I think we took a pause for us to move quicker, a bit faster, and the pause means that we sat down with our clients and really try to understand what their needs are, so that we are able to offer them solutions, not just products, but offer them solutions to meet their needs. So we are very proud to say that now we are able to offer a full suite of post-trade solutions, starting from trade all the way to settlement and reporting. So we offer a full end-to-end. But we are also working very hard to be able to offer a single digital platform where a client can log in once and find an ecosystem of post-trade solutions. So they can basically access everything that they want onto one digital platform. That means that they've got single access point, so they don't have to integrate with many systems. Single access point. They've got a single counterparty, so they don't have to manage multiple counterparties. And we also offering them like a single relationship manager. So they've got one access point into our institution. They don't have to be sent from pillar to post. I spoke about data earlier on. We are also developing data solutions. Really, data is becoming quite important and critical into our clients' lives. One of the examples that I can mention is an ESG tool that we've just launched in September last year, where clients can log on to this and really, depending on their benchmark, they can see exactly what their ESG scoring is, and they can benchmark themselves against their peers and benchmark themselves against market benchmarks. Consolidated reporting, I think, is something that is quite important as well. I mean, I mentioned earlier on that there's all of this data, so we can consolidate it and present it to them in a form that they can use it. Really, we are introducing some level of simplicity in what they do, so that they can concentrate on doing what they actually want to do, and not having to manage us. And I think the last thing as far as response is concerned is that we have developed a number of solutions that can give them global access, both for our local clients who want international access, but for our international clients who want access into our continent. We are those guys that are helping them to do that.
Sifiso Ndala, the head of Global Security Solutions at RMB, thank you very much for your insights.